Everyone in this video was tested for COVID-19 prior to filming.
Vote, vote.
We've been voting for decades. Nothing meaningful has been accomplished.
Oh, here comes the chat war. Uh-oh.
How has the experience of being black in America changed?
I lived Black history.
Amend, The Fight for America is a performance documentary that examines the revolutions and counter-revolutions that have shaped America.
Guys, intro is fine, but hey, can we?
So I'm a domestic violence counselor, anger management.
Oh, it was really short.
Every day I have conversations with my children about the current events, things that are going on today, comparing them to years
Guys,
ago.
I'm interested. I want to watch this.
Yes and no. They would, but it was always a whitewashed version of history. Like, oh, racism ended when the Civil Rights Movement was.
I was taught the bare minimum. Everyone learns about Martin Luther King. I honestly wish I learned a little bit more about slavery.
Today, I'm looking forward to being understood. A lot of the experiences that I have with older black people is, I'm the parent, you're the child, you don't have an opinion.
In my day, we had a consensus. We knew exactly what.
Just go.
My name is Skip Townsend, 57 years old.
It's a long intro.
Born and raised right here in Los Angeles. I'm the father of 12 children. I have 15 grandchildren. I have one great grandbaby. I'm an advocate for peace. So I'm a domestic violence counselor, anger management, parenting.
I'm Cynthia Singleton. I'm 74 years old. My main thing in retirement is I'm a coordinator for intergenerational tutoring program for LAUSD, and I'm happy. I'm really fortunate. I have a good life.
Cool.
Hi, I'm Alex Alexandra. I'm 17. I'm a high school student. I'm biracial, so it's kind of hard for me to find my part of society. So I fight for literally everybody because I understand that we are extremely marginalized and we deserve better.
Cool.
My name is Devin Hayden. I'm 17 years old. When I go to college, I hope to pursue a degree in political science because I feel as though there are not enough young people or black people in government.
Hello, I'm Bree. I'm in school. I go to FITM and I'm studying merchandising and marketing. I also work at a bakery, just getting me through college. So yeah, I'm just taking life one day at a time. I'm just trying to figure out my space in this world.
Can I get my grandparents on the right and my...
Okay, here comes the questions.
If you agree, step forward. If you disagree, stay back.
Okay.
My generation has had it harder than the other side.
Okay.
My first job was at a bank. They would use me as the supervisor, but I was still making minimum wage. And then they promoted all of these other people who
That's fucked up, dude.
white. I didn't have any of the titles and did all the work. I was trusted to do the work. I wasn't trusted to get paid any more money.
I had a job, and they actually told me that I looked too militant because I had a fro, and I was proud of my fro. And I had an Afro sticker on my car, and they told me in order to continue to work here, you have to get rid of the fro and get the Afro sticker off of your car. We had to toe the line and look the best, act the best in order to have any kind of advancement. Whereas now I think things are a little looser.
For me, I think being 14, 15 years younger than you two, my challenges were different. It wasn't about a job. We couldn't go to the movies because the Crips had started. Because now we can't go to the park. Now when I go to school, there's a different element. So when my mother tells me to go to the store, and the store is maybe 2 blocks away, but I know just crossing that busy street puts me in danger, it'll make me go 6, 7 blocks the other way. And my whole world was not about get a high school diploma, I just want to get home every night. So it's just so many things that were dangerous in my growing up in the 1980s and 90s that I think that
That's fucked up, dude.
have today is a silver or maybe if it's a golden spoon. Bring the golden spoon era in here.
Damn, why is roasting for no reason?
Yeah, I completely agree with everything you guys said, and we could even say that we've had a golden spoon in our mouths.
Chill out, bro.
You guys aren't wrong with that.
I mean, you guys definitely paved the way for us. We were just following in your footsteps almost.
It's
I do
not
think
wrong,
that
though.
our generation has a lot of pressure on our career and education, and I appreciate it. It is very stressful. My parents want me to have a good job and go to a good school. My grandparents want the same, but it's because they want me to have what they didn't have.
I wholeheartedly agree that you guys had it way harder, but you guys were lucky in the point that you knew who the racists were. You knew the KKK was down the street over there. You knew because they was in your face with it. Now, in the face of technology and the new age, people are way covert about it. They hide it. I've had somebody comment monkey under my thing, and I didn't even know who it was. I'm only 17. I'm not prepared to have somebody on the internet who doesn't
Guys,
know who I am
there's some
call me derogatory slurs or, threaten to.
Guys, this is an opinion. I think she's right about this, but at the same time, I think even though there is more people were out there, there are also probably people that weren't out there just like, today.
To kill
So
me.
it's kinda like
you know what it's like to experience over.
One has A and B, and one has B.
So
it's kind of
like that because I don't know what to do.
Does that make sense?
I do have to say one thing that I kind of disagree with. I feel as though the younger generation doesn't have as much guidance or a specific goal that you guys had. You guys had people like Malcolm X, you guys had people like Fred Hampton. You've had
It's funny, I didn't agree entirely with what you said.
What do we have? Obama, maybe?
You said, you guys were lucky because you guys had A, right? But now we have B. It was like, okay, well, they had A and B, I think.
We don't really have those leaders to guide us in a certain direction.
I disagree. I think you are the leaders. People are going to tell you that you have to aspire to be somewhere, but Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X both died before they were 40. They were the leaders when they were your age. So you guys are the leaders. And who you hang around. See, I hung around Big Monster, Tiny Killer, Little Shooter, Baby One Punch. You guys not hanging around them. You're hanging around people who are inspired and motivated to do the same things you're doing. So the leaders are here. I don't think you recognize them because they're right next to you.
Okay, fair enough.
Protests should be peaceful.
Absolutely not.
That's okay.
I've seen in the 1992 riots and also in the recent uprisings that a lot of opportunists were there. And it was an opportunity to tear up our own communities. The emotions, the drive, the passion creates something that turns violent, it turns ugly, and the rest of the world is able to see that there's a lack of control. Let's work on finding a solution rather than just destroying the community.
I think one of the greatest examples
Guys, if they're in front, it means yes, they agree with this. They think it should be peaceful.
is the bus boycott. The world runs on economic.
Guys, I'm not gonna give you. I'm just gonna give you not my take, but my perception as an outsider. In my opinion, I could be wrong. I could be wrong about this. I'm willing to be wrong, but I think it devalidates the movement, the message, and the methods when things aren't peaceful. I think it can spark even more disagreements, or I think it devalidates a lot.
Economics. It's all about the money. Hurt them in the wallet. You can march till you're blue in the face, but unless they're going to lose money, then it doesn't affect them as much as the bottom line does, that these people are going to actually stop buying our products. Affect the money, and I think you'll get a much longer reaching effect.
Like I said, I'm willing to be wrong about this.
And you seem so peaceful.
I think when we were going through the Black Lives Matter protests this past year, the peaceful protests were never seen. We would see a 10-second clip of it and be like, oh, there was a peaceful protest an hour ago. Although I don't agree with violence, I don't want anyone to get killed or hurt, I do think that it brings a little bit more awareness to what we're fighting for.
I agree to an extent. I am a product of the Watts riots. We lived at 115th and Central. Our friends were all in those riots. They'd knock on the door and tell my mother, hey, Miss Addie, keep the kids inside. Things are getting bad out here. I don't agree with everything that happened in the Watts riots because there was a lot of destruction, but the Watts riots are still referenced today. My father always said the squeaky wheel gets the oil, but I don't want anybody to be hurt. I don't want to see a repeat of what we saw at the Capitol. None of us want to see any kind of nonsense like that. We want to have a message with what you're doing.
Yeah, to some extent, I completely agree.
Oh, here it comes.
At the same time, I'm a wholehearted believer in civil disobedience. For example, the Founding Fathers, though I am very critical of them, they used violent tactics to get from Britain to be independent. This is just property damage. I don't really necessarily care if a building gets burned down, if a cop car gets burned down, because how many people have been killed by the hands of the police and nothing has happened?
The whole reason why people protest is because they're upset about something. Black people have every single right to be upset, and I don't think that we would have got the killers of George Floyd convicted had we been out there just holding the sign, please convict. No, we need to apply pressure to the government, because if they think that we're not going to step up and take action and hold them accountable, they're not going to do anything.
Okay, I'm going to interject a thought since I'm the senior here. Believe this if you believe nothing else. What you do now will follow you for the rest of your life. This world is digitized, and you don't want to get in this man's system, because this brother can testify, once he gets you in that system, he will keep his foot on your neck, and you will never, ever hardly get free.
And maybe I'm wrong, Jack. I just feel like the main point, the main goal should be the message and the movement. And I think if there's destruction, it should be a collateral, not a main goal of it.
Do something by you get arrested, how's that arrest record going to affect you for the rest of your life? I want people to think of long range. I think the Black Lives Matter, what made me overjoyed, and I had tears because they got it. These kids finally got it. Vote, vote, vote. Protest, yes, but where's the power?
I definitely think that you should be voting, but we have to recognize how undemocratic our system is. We've been voting for decades. Nothing meaningful has been accomplished. There are still disparities when it comes to education. There are still disparities when it comes to police brutality. There are still disparities when it comes to drug charges. These are all problems, and we've been voting, and it hasn't been working.
Okay, I hear you, and I understand you, but you have to work within the system you live in. The system you live in is voting, and as you can see, Biden and Harris are in office. Voting put them there. Think about what you're doing, who it's affecting, and in the long range. It's not just that one day, it's what's the far-reaching effect of this?
Okay.
What's the misconception people might have about you as a grandparent?
I think most people think that I'm mean. I know some of the girls where I work would say, she's mean, but boy, she'll get you out of trouble with the union. I'm very straightforward and I'm very blunt. I've always been, because I grew up in a family that was very structured. It was a very religious family, and my parents believed in corporal punishment. And I'm glad, because it's helped me a great deal in my adult life. I think it was a good thing. Hard when you're young, you don't understand it, but in the long run, I think it's a good thing.
I have dated people of another race.
What is this question though?
I couldn't get past a couple of dates
because of intergenerational.
We went to Alvera Street, and lo and behold, we ran into all these brothers. And I just felt so uncomfortable. It's not the same for you as it is for us a long time ago. These were in the 60s. Mm-hmm. I just couldn't continue. And when I told him, I felt bad because he said, you're a racist. You won't date me because of my skin color. And I thought about it, and I said, yeah, that's deep. Yeah. I've always felt bad about that, but I just couldn't do it.
I mean, I'm in a relationship right now with a white person. If you like, that's it. It shouldn't be a discussion.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah, of course.
When you go out and you see brothers, African-American men, do they look at you different because you're with a white guy?
1,000%. Like I told him, people are gonna look at us, and they're not looking at you, they're looking at me because I'm with you. It doesn't make me uncomfortable, but I do see people staring.
I think even though I'm not against interracial dating, I think that if the child is black, that they should never lose that black culture and try to assimilate another culture. I have a problem and an issue with that.
So I'm obviously a product of an interracial relationship. My mom is Filipino, my dad is black. Watching my parents try to understand each other, and then me being a biracial person, like, it's really hard to bridge that gap because my mom is an immigrant from the Philippines. She doesn't know what the black experience is. I see the disparity in understanding. And in the same sense that my dad doesn't really understand what I go through, and I'm in a relationship with a
Why is she bothered about everything?
Right now, and it's so much simpler to explain, like, this is my experience as a black woman, this is what you will have to deal with, police brutality if my child is dark-skinned. But until this point, I've never encountered anyone that is willing to sit down with me and be like, okay, your experience is valid, we're gonna get through it together, because they completely shut down when they realize you have baggage.
Guys, some of these things, they're not even crazy, like, this is a discussion.
I gave a speech to about 5,000 people It was for the promotion from 8th grade to 9th grade. And they were always telling me, oh, I'm so articulate. And I don't like that very much because I'm like, well, what does that mean, you know?
What?
Sometimes I act white.
Ooh. Uh-oh. What the fuck is that?
When someone says you act white, that's not a thing. That doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It's more like a colloquial term that people use to refer to one power. When people refer to me as like, oh yeah, you talk white, you sound white, you dress white, they're referring to
That's
higher
bait.
status than my color, my skin color.
Ain't nobody gonna take me seriously if I spoke like this. If I went to a meeting and I spoke with like the little twang in your voice, they gonna think, oh, you one of them ghetto ones. You'd allow angry black women. So I have to present myself in a way that is consumable and acceptable to the people that I am presenting myself with.
Do you think that you being mixed has anything to do with that?
Oh yeah, Asian people have this positive stereotype that they're
The model.
the model minority myth, like you're the smart, you're the good minority. And if people see me as that Asian self and I distance myself from the blackness, which I've had to do before in order to give myself good opportunities, it's unfair.
It doesn't apply to me. My mother used to always tell me that I act black.
I'm not gonna we're in the video, they were
I
almost
had a
there.
hard time trying to get to the other side of that, and I don't think I ever reached it. I don't think I ever acted white.
Maybe I should have said agree. I do act professional
this is pretty
in certain
good.
settings. Like I work in customer service. I have to raise my voice 3 octaves for people to think that I'm being respectful. And maybe people think I'm white over the phone. Maybe my name and my voice correlates. I could be white, but I never tried to be white.
I think that I've heard the term, you're one of those educated black women. I love being professional. I love my education to shine. Love it. Can move in the other direction if made to do so. I can go south real quick. Okay.
I think that people mistake being articulate and educated for trying to be white. But I think our generation, that was the norm. You strived every day to be intelligent.
Correct.
She's pretty good.
You don't go out ashy. Put that Vaseline on your legs and on your elbows. Don't go out with rollers in your hair. Are you crazy? We were taught
She didn't fall for the bait.
you have to be better. You have to look better, you have to act better, you have to dress better. You represent a whole group of people. And I think that ideology may be lost a little now when you go out. But we were trained to act the best we could act, not to use ebonics. You know, we had to survive. I don't look at it as a negative thing.
James Baldwin once said that whiteness is a metaphor for power. Black people are trying to get educated, trying to seek intelligence and knowledge to gain power in one way or another, whether it be economic power, whether it be culturally. We want to be recognized as human beings.
Uh-oh.
All right, that was well said. The most impactful event for me was being incarcerated in LA County Jail in 1998. I was wrongfully accused and treated unfairly, in particular because my father passed away while I was about to start a trial for 2 life sentences. And the reward that I got for my father passing away is I was put in a hole. The system didn't know what to do with me, so they put me in isolation. It was done to protect the other inmates because I might have been volatile and going through something and would have exploded, and that's definitely unfair. I think that the system needs to integrate some healthier procedures.
Next question, please.
I have trauma.
I would just say I have a lot of trauma with the cops. My dad always had run-ins. I was always in the car from a young age, and I just get immense anxiety. Like passing a cop car, seeing a cop. When I first started driving, my parents had me put like my registration, everything like right above my head so I didn't have to reach, so I wouldn't get shot. When I get pulled over, I FaceTime my father. I have video. Like, it's stressful to be afraid of a cop on a daily basis, but that's what we gotta go through.
Okay.
I watch black people die on TV like it's a show for everyone to see. I watched George Floyd die in front of the entire world in my phone. That looked like my father to me. When I saw Breonna Taylor, I thought of my sister. When I saw Ahmaud Arbery, I saw my older brothers. It takes a toll on you to see that and to constantly understand that this is your reality. This could potentially be me. I've been assaulted and experienced microaggressions and have been harassed before. And, you know, nobody really wants to talk about it, because what do you say to like a 12-year-old girl who's just been, you know, sexualized? It's a painful conversation that a lot of people are not ready to have.
So
Ooh.
acknowledging everything you guys said,
This-
I want to talk about
She talked about a whole bunch of
PTSD,
stuff. I
so
kinda-
my
I kinda lost
post-traumatic stress
track.
disorder. I want to talk about what you just said, which is present. It's happening right now. I'm consistently, it's reoccurring trauma. I feel like I'm in a domestic violence relationship with law enforcement, with society, with the government. And at any moment, my life and my children's life are in danger. And you guys as well. Yeah. So it's not post-traumatic, it's present, it's right now.
That's one of the blessings of growing old. You
Here she comes.
get control of your emotions more. So I don't think I'm as stressed as a lot of people over the things that are happening. They affect me, but I know that I can't control it. So what is that going to cost me in the long run if I lose myself and my health? And everybody doesn't have that luxury to be able to do that. And I understand that.
Oh, yes, and the
and
fact
because
that
I think
taken.
two things happened to me when I was a younger woman in my 30s, 40s. My son was shot and killed on the
damn.
street, a drive-by shooting, and 2 years later, my husband committed suicide.
Jeez.
So you realize you can't control everything, but you can control how you react to it. And you've got to get yourself under control, or you will lose yourself. So I guess in a way, I have what do you call it? PTSD. PTSD, yeah. So I seem very composed, I seem very cool.
Don't do it.
It's because you have to be to survive. You have to. It's all about surviving.
Generational trauma is real.
That's it. Post-slavery trauma
Yeah.
went into my grandparents, who
The
taught
news
my
at the
mother,
moment.
and my mother taught me. It's really important to know that it has been passed on. My mother beat me because her mother beat her.
Yes.
Her mother beat her because her mother beat her.
Yes.
Because they did not want the masters on the plantations to beat their children. So they said, no, beg them, please, no, I'm gonna teach them. And they get a whip and go beat their own kids so that someone else wouldn't. And this is passed down. This is handed down to me, even where, St. Ives, Old English.
Living in the United States is a privilege.
Ooh.
I mean, yes, there's a million flaws in our system, but we do have all these resources and programs. Some kids don't even get to read, have a book, have a pencil. So I'm lucky to be here, that's all, yeah.
I have been fortunate
Correct.
enough, I've traveled all over the world. Vietnam, Singapore, Japan, China, Italy, Rome, France, and there's no place like the United States because we have a middle class. Almost everywhere in the world, it's rich or poor. There's no Section 8, there's no WIC, there's no AFDC. You just on your ass.
Okay.
I've been to other countries as well, and it really matters what you value. Like, when I go to places like the Philippines, yes, they're poor over there, but their family bonds are like this. They are happy. Who do you see who's working a 9-to-5 job behind a desk, happy with what they live with? People in the suburbs doing the same thing every day for 40 years, just having kids, staying home, going to work. And I feel like the perception that you guys carry is a result of the indoctrination
what?
of the American dream. You're taught that you're gonna get a white picket fence with a nice house in the suburbs, and that's why so many people come here, is because we sell America like this is a utopia, a great place, but then you come here and then you see immigrants suffering. So they come here expecting better, only to have a different set of struggles.
I understand how you feel, but it's one thing to say it than to live it. And even yourself, like when you go to the Philippines, I've been to the Philippines, they were exploited from the military base that was there. I mean, they live in deplorable conditions. Universal health care, yeah, that's all good too, but look at some of the other conditions they live in. We take a lot for granted. I just still say it's not as easy as it looks.
Do you think that America has been good, or do you think black people have been privileged in America?
For me, it's a compare and contrast. This is good about this country, this is bad about America. This is bad about this country, this is good about America. And for me, I feel, you know, I like it here, you know, so.
I want to answer your question. That's what's good about traveling.
Fair enough.
Black people are prejudiced against all over the world. It's not just in America. Because the ruling class has made you think that blonde hair, blue eyes, and light skin is better.
True.
So in Brazil, if you're light skinned, you're better. In Africa, women are dying of cancer to bleach their skin white. So don't think it's just America that suppresses the black man. I'd be hard put for me to leave the United States and be able to survive at the level I live
Makes
here.
sense.
Very good point.
You know, Michael, that this side of the room, the bad hips, the bullet wounds, and all that starting to set in for this side. Just to let you know, all right?
John did.
Black people are resilient.
Oh, without a doubt.
John did.
I can even speed up for that one.
Easy.
Yeah, you better run to your seats, guys.
Softball question.
I am a strong black woman, and I would not be here today if I wasn't.
I
Okay.
am a
Guys, that was a pretty good video. I enjoyed it.
Wow. Because I am willing to take on anything that affects my family, affects the things that I believe in.
I'm a strong black man, and I know that because of all the obstacles and challenges that I had to face, not only with society, but I had to face the challenges within my own community. I am resilient because I have the
Guys,
power to harm.
I'm
or
gonna
to
go next
heal.
track because
And at this time, I choose to heal. I'm resilient.
Power to you.
My great grandmother
okay,
was.
that was pretty good though. Guys, I don't know why you guys get so mauled, dude. What is it so mauled?